one of the things I wanted to start with was talking about understanding yourself and understanding your values. And, people will get a sense for where this is going in a second, but we're going to next talk about vision, and then we're going to talk about goals and try to untangle those a little bit. So it felt like the right place was maybe to start with understanding yourself and understanding your values. Can you, one, I guess, just is that the right place to start as you're thinking about where am I headed in life? Where is my vector? And then starting to work more granularly as you get to goals. And then can you talk a little bit about how you approach working with people around their values and around understanding themselves and what they want?
Sure. This is a deep and rich question. Any decision point, I think, comes down to this key question of what are you optimizing for? Where I get a lot of questions of the format of I'm trying to do blank. What should I do? And I'll be like, well, it depends. What are you optimizing for? And there's everything to, hey, what city should I move to? Should I stay in my lucrative, high paying, prestigious career or go on my own to start a firm or a company? All these types of questions and say, hey, what should I do? It's like, I don't know. What's most important to you? What are you optimizing for in your life in this decision in particular? And realizing that these two are one and the same. That if you know what's most important to you in your life, well, you've answered your own question because, hey, just pick the option that best optimizes for this variable, whatever that is. So that's a starting point that I have with every client is trying to bring to the surface, hey, right now, what's most important to you? What are you optimizing for? And this becomes this automatic, reflexive, habitual question. Okay, what should I do next? Well, what optimizes for that the most? And I think that's always a very logical starting point of having this clear direction to head, this compass.
I want to ask a couple of follow-up questions around it. And one of the first ones that came to mind was just how do you help people get to truth when they're talking about their values? And you have some great, maybe I'll give a nod to a couple of the exercises in Experiment Without Limits. You have, but a lot of it in Experiment Without Limits is basically surfacing trade-offs and forcing people to think about, yes, everything has a trade-off. And so you said you want X. Are you willing to do all of the things necessary to be able to do that? And so I just wanted to kind of ask at a really high level how you help people or any tips or rules of thumb for when you feel like you've gotten to truth and you've gotten past what you're telling yourself you want, but you aren't willing to really thread that needle and do everything to really go and fulfill.
Cool. I think this is almost a two-parter. So first is what are you looking for? And the second is how do you know when to stop looking or at least pause looking? Because I think this is just a continual lifelong process of figuring out what's important to you. So if you're trying to converge on this completely 100% objective truth, you're just going to be stuck in indecision forever. I think the real important part of any values, vision, goals, exercises, choosing a direction to head, because once you're moving, you can always course correct along the way. So, two key words that come to mind for me first one is resonance, the second one is alignment. So, resonance is just what resonates with you. What are the moments in your life that make you feel most alive, most inspired? You look back and say, "Man, I love that I did that. That was so great. I wish I could do more of that." Or you get the feedback, "Hey, like you're really good at this. Have you considered doing more of that?" That type of stuff. Like there's clearly some resonance where when you do this, things are more natural. There's more of a sense of flow. The second word, alignment, is just seeing like, is the way that I'm living my life in alignment with my values? And the only real way to uncover this is to do things and to pay attention and to reflect on that. So I think that all progress really boils down to a sense of awareness. So having regular practices, I think of these as interfaces for self-reflection, is like, is what I'm doing in alignment with what I value the most? So this is where I introduced the one concept that is most near and dear to me in the world, that you find it in the title of Experiment Without Limits, which is experimentation, where a big challenge that I had early on in my life and sometimes even later in my life is being paralyzed by inaction caused by a need for perfection. So, not knowing exactly what to do or how to do it, waiting on the sidelines, trying to figure things out or get inspired before moving, and you get a lot more inspired and you get a lot more feedback, get a lot more dialed in on what works when you're doing things. So just start doing things and course correct along the way. And the sense of alignment is, are the things that you are doing, do they feel like they are moving in that right direction? That's always a good place to start.